Hello, everybody, and welcome to What Do You Say Anime. I am your host, Peter. Today's episode, we will be reviewing a show close to my heart and close to the podcast heart. It is the 2018 original, A Place Further Than the Universe. Joining me today, back from his hiatus, he pulled the Hunter x Hunter on us, but he's back. We have Kat. Kat, how's it going today?
I wouldn't call it a Hunter x Hunter, but I'm actually doing a lot better than I was beforehand. Right now, life is okay. I'm actually a little bit stable, but
Woo!
I have returned with a message. Now, I must start with this. There are times in our lives where where we have the chance to choose our fate. For some, it is taking a leap in a relationship. For others, it is choosing an anime that we think everyone will love. Today, I return from the gallows of our non-baka episode, so I must proclaim, the cat is back.
Yay! The cat is back!
Woo!
Welcome back, Kat. And joining us, Johnny. Johnny, how's it going?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much.
And our first moderator of the night, the original Maha show bro himself, we have Miles. Miles, how's it going?
Ooh, I like that. It's going well. As the front bottom said in their honestly only kind of decent 2020 album, In Sickness and in Flames, good stuff is happening all around me. People are high-fiving. People are freaking out. I haven't checked my time. I haven't checked my mind since I saw the Northern Lights. In this case, they were Southern, but it was the closest thing I could see to fit. So...
Well, I just assume you do a Taylor Swift quote, but thanks for mixing it up. And our second moderator of the night, we have young Patty Mills himself, Patrick. Pat, how's it going?
Hello. I hate basketball, but I am Patty Mills. Good to know. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm doing good. This is the first episode of Watch Club that we've done since I officially graduated from university. So I'll take that.
Yay.
Congrats.
That'll be my little self brag, whatever, something or other. If anyone out there doubts that they can do it, you can, because I did somehow. I believe in yourself, like the me that believes in you, or something Gurren Lagann. Same messages as in this show, so I can't
Close enough.
about it. Yeah, close enough. Yeah, it's the same show basically, right? Gurren Lagann in the universe. It's the exact same show, exactly. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciated that connection I made, Pete. So yeah. Speaking of which, I don't know if you even introduced yourself, Pete. So welcome to Watch Club.
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you for
Pete.
joining us.
I hope people know me by now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd hope people know all of us by now. But you know what? If you're tuning in for your first time because this is a show that interested you or whatever, this is A Place Further in the Universe, and what we're going to do is we're going to start, as we always do, with a short, sweet introduction. Everyone, what they first thought of the show, their first impressions, spoiler free, so nothing too deep into the show, anything like that. And we'll start as always with Miles. So what have you got to start?
Yeah, so I nominated this show. Because I like to put my money where my mouth is. Um, and I had frequently made fun of Pete for loving this show so much. Because it's a show about a girl going to Antarctica because she's bored or whatever, and honestly, that sounded terrible. So that was my impression going in. Thought it would be pretty boring. I was very pleasantly surprised about this. It was a very enjoyable show. It was nice, and I was enjoying it from the first few episodes, which I guess is a little not controversial. I guess I don't know that some people had some issues with those, but I liked it from the beginning. So I thought it was a really good show.
I'm really happy you didn't hate it.
Recommend it. No,
Yeah,
it's
me
good.
too.
It's a pleasant show.
Yeah, so you would recommend it? I think you just said that, right?
Yes.
Would you recommend it? Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
absolutely.
There we go. Kat, what about you? I know you just binged it, right? In the past couple days?
Yeah, so this is actually the first anime that me and my girlfriend actually watched together. That was
Nice.
the kind of like reference that I had at the beginning of the speech. Because like if you're not in the Discord, you don't know like how my life is going when I do my like my like twice every 1 month check in. But
Yeah.
like the thing is like we watched like half the anime last night, and then I watched the rest of it. Then I watched the rest of it when I got home. But like it was it started out as a really good show. Um, I have some like some it it for some reason it kind of got like I kind of had a weird feeling about it, like kind of watching it more. So that's just opinion that I'm gonna get it into later.
Yeah.
But like I honestly I would recommend it, but it's gonna be kind of like a I recommend it, but here's some things that you might not like about it.
Yeah, or
So
like I recommend it to people because of blank, right? Or for
yeah,
specific people, not necessarily for everybody, right?
yeah, like I can get why Pete loves the show so much and why it inspired him, but like at the same time, it didn't inspire me. So
Respect.
that's not a stab at you. I'm just saying.
No, I understand.
Absolutely, I know. I get what you're saying, Kat. So Johnny, what about you? What were your first impressions?
First is I heard about this show like quite a few years ago. I think around when it came out. It's just I was never too interested in watching it. There was other stuff I was watching like SAO.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
so this came out like around the time I started watching anime. So it took me until now to watch it because it was for Watch Club. Back then I heard a lot of people like saying good things about it. Mostly I heard Gigerk saying that it was one of his favorite animes of the year, and it's one of those shows that like makes you really gets you in the feels and makes you cry and that kind of thing. So yeah, so going into it, like Miles said, some people have said like the start is slow, which I do agree. It does start off pretty slow, but once things get going, they really do get going. And I think it was a very good I think it was a very good show. I would definitely recommend this, and it almost made me cry, but I managed to held on. So yeah,
Good.
definitely recommend.
Good for you. Good for you, Johnny. I'm proud of you for not crying. Pete, so why did you cry to this show? Let's
I
hear
mean,
it.
episode
I'm
12,
kidding. I'm
yeah, I mean,
just kidding.
episode 12 was just a tearjerker, but I mean, I rave about the show all the time. I love it. It's in my top 10 all time. I would recommend it to everybody. It's just such a great story of so many different elements of people in their young age coming together. We have people coming together or go wanting to go for completely different reasons. One wanted to like experience youth. One wanted closure. The other one wanted one was for like a job. The other one was for just wanting to like have fun before like jumping into like adulthood type of thing. So you get all these people mixed together to have one goal in mind, and they do it together, and it's just a blast. And people having fun on screen is just like a really fun element to a story. And I felt like these girls were just did like a great story of them coming together as strangers and by the end becoming best friends. And there's more. We'll get more into it during the podcast, but I would absolutely recommend this to anybody who is looking for a different type of story, a story about pushing yourself, about taking chances, about taking risk, anything. It's literally the inspiration for the podcast. Me watching this show, I was like, I always, when I fell in love with anime, I wanted to like express myself somehow. And I didn't really know how to do that. And podcast was always something in mind, but I never really had like the guts to do it. And then watching this show, it kind of like low key, I mean, it has changed my life. I've met everybody, I met all of you through this podcast. Like, if it wasn't for this show, I wouldn't know who you are. So, like, obviously, this show means a lot to me in a bunch of different ways. So, I'll talk more about it later. But yes, I recommend this to everybody and anybody.
Ah, it changed your life for the worse. That's tragic. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, most
I'm
of you
beating
are.
all of
Some of
us.
you are,
I'm
alright.
beating all of us. I'm kidding, obviously.
I felt that one.
Yeah. um, yeah. So, for me, this show, I watched it. I think a few months after it came out. I hadn't. 2018 was when I really started watching seasonally. But like later on into 2018. So I came onto the show late. Probably around like what Johnny said when Giguk made a video or talked about it in his anime video. Or anime of the year video. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It seems like a good story. People seem to like it. And yeah, so I guess it seems like I'm not alone in saying that I feel like it started out very slowly. First couple episodes to me didn't really catch me until there's a specific scene. We'll talk about it later, like a chase scene, almost a running scene, and that was when the show started to catch me. And then from there, I pretty much enjoyed it all throughout. Like Pete, I cried like a baby at episode 12. The show in general is just it's moving. It's incredible. Even on the second watch through, I it had me as emotional as it did the first time. Um, I know it hits real close to home, this show, and it is very motivational. It's very uplifting, and I would recommend it to a lot of people. I feel where Cat's trepidations come into, though, for recommending it to everyone, because it is very slow. I would not recommend a child watches this. I would not recommend someone looking for action or shonen would watch this. I feel like there are a lot of themes that it touches on that are most synonymous with people that are either in high school or above, like adults even struggling to find their way or find their motivations. So, but I would recommend this show to anybody like that. So yeah, that's all I've got for my first impressions, and I think everyone else has spoken as well. So we'll move on to our spoiler zone, where we're actually going to talk about the show. So if you don't want to get spoiled on any plot topics or anything like that, um, please just pause us and come back to us after you've finished. But if not, spoiler time it is. So yeah, does anyone want to have a specific point that they wanted to talk about in the show?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, go ahead, Kat. Start us up.
So going from episode 1 to episode 6, that's kind of where me and my girlfriend stopped. That's honestly a really good stopping place in my opinion, because that's when the show actually starts picking up. So in episodes 1 through 6, like it kind of feels like episodes 1 through 3 kind of feel like a slice of life. It kind of feels like, oh, we're kind of getting into our groove. It almost feels kind of like Yuru Camp, how Yuru Camp feels the whole way through. But the thing is, that kind of set me up for a Yuru Camp feeling. And I was like, ooh, a slice of life. I'm going to enjoy this. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it. It was just that, like, I was set up for a slice of life. And like, then 4 through 6, I kind of got, okay, we're getting this kind of like adventure, not necessarily action, but adventure feeling of like an adventure starting, like how almost like if you condense the 61 episodes of One Piece's like first season into like a 12 episode like series, a 12 episode season, like that's how those 3 episodes felt. It's kind of hard to explain,
No, that's
but
no,
like,
Kat. That's funny you said it because Miles said something like in the chat. He was like, "Oh, they're actually going to Antarctica." It's like the shift like actually just went from like slice of life to actual adventure. So I know exactly what you're saying.
yeah, so like it was just like it almost felt like how when you get ready, like when you were younger, when you get ready to go to like a class field trip, like you're not actually you're not actually just going to school, you're actually going to travel somewhere, you're actually feeling like you're going to have fun, or feeling like you're going to have something to do other than sit your ass at a desk all day. So like that was one of the things that I really liked about it. But then at the end of the 6th episode, that's when it started to pick up, and that's when it started to get into like the drama, the like melodrama, and like actually feeling, actually getting to know the characters, not just the story. So like, because this is a character driven show, but at the same time, like sometimes it switches from being character driven to being story driven to being like excitement driven in a way, and it does it in a way that's fun, but it doesn't always feel thought out, if you know what I mean. I'll elaborate a little bit more as we get further into the
Okay, because
discussion,
I will
though.
100% disagree with you on that.
That
Uh,
referring to
where
the
like the characters and
No, like just how like it feels like the characters are taking a lead on this episode, or the story is taking a lead on this episode, or
oh, okay.
the excitement is taking a lead on this episode. Like for example, how like episode 5-ish, that's when it kind of felt like the excitement was taking a lead on the episode rather than the story or the characters. So because it felt like episode 5 was kind of like, hey, this is how we're going to build excitement. Not that it was a bad episode. Like I enjoyed the episode. It just kind of felt odd to me in a way.
So what happens in that one? Just for like the conversation.
I'm not entirely sure
Give
which
me
one.
one
Is that the
second.
one where they go to like Singapore Is that
Wait,
the
which
episode
episode?
5? Episode 5. Is that the
Um,
Singapore episode?
No,
It
that's the
feels
one.
like that's what it
That's
is.
the one before where they're like, where
yeah,
they're about to head out on their journey.
yeah.
Oh, is
Um,
it when they lose the passport, or is that in Singapore? I
That's
can't
in
No, that's in
Singapore.
Singapore.
there.
oh
Okay.
no, excuse me. I meant episode 4, not episode 5.
Episode
Um,
4.
yeah, episode 4 is where they get the actual where they get everything together and they're like, oh shit, we're actually going to Antarctica.
Or it's really, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's like when they're in the school, they're like letting their teachers know that like they're leaving.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that was that the scene where like she comes home and her friend snitched on her mom, and then her mom wants to like beat the crap out of Mari.
Yeah.
That scene was so great.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys,
That was hilarious.
when the dad opens the door and like sees the
Yeah,
angry
oh.
wife, and he's like, "I'm sorry, honey."
Sorry.
He just
Forgive me.
closes it. Yeah,
Just
it's
oh.
really funny.
I guess just to bank off Cat, I do think this is like I think this is extremely character driven. I think like the cool action scenes and stuff like that add elements to it, but it's more of how the situations that they are in continues to bond with all the characters. So like for example, when they're in the ship and they're seasick for the first time, they're all absolutely miserable. They're throwing up. They can't keep any food down. And then they go outside and it's that storm and the tone completely shifts. And it was just like the thought of we're miserable, but we're miserable together. Like we all are in this together through thick and thin. Like you have to have the yin with the yang. So we're going to have bad times, but let's cherish the good times that we have together. And I really enjoyed like that little aspect of it because there's multiple scenes in the show where these characters have these moments with each other to like continue like the bond with each other. Especially in the last scene where not last scene, I think it was last episode or second last episode where Shirase gets a haircut and when she's leaving, and it's just like a symbolic of like I'm letting everything go. And I really like those type of moments in the show between the four girls that really drove the characters in it. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say about that, but that was just my takeaway from like the show itself.
Yes.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, so that was one of my favorite things about it too, because like I think like I really like that scene where it's like who was the girl that's the idol? What was her name again?
Yuzuki.
Yuzi, yeah.
Yeah, Yuzuki. Wait, what?
They call it like
Why?
Yuzu or Yuzuki.
Yeah, Yuzu. But like, yeah, that scene where like those scenes where like, cause she's like that like the lonely character who like she didn't have like any friends before this, and I don't know, it just kind of hit close to home for me because like the scenes were like they were so relatable for someone who was like lonely before a lot in their life, and like oh that scene with the birthday like that got me pretty close to crying when they went to her room when they were in Antarctica with the birthday cake when
Mhm.
her birthday was supposed to happen at sea, but because everyone was miserable they couldn't have it there. Yeah, that scene just made me like hit me pretty hard.
I think we're gonna be able to relate to that when we do like a best girl thing because I think we can all relate to a character in the show because they're so unique and they all have these different personalities. But that's what makes a friend group. It wouldn't be fun if everybody was the same.
Yeah, I do like how like each of the characters do feel very different from each other, even if like some of them feel similar. Like the two black haired girls kind of like feel similar, and the two like I guess blonde, I guess.
Blondish, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Brownish
blondish,
blonde.
brown, blondish. Like they kind of act like they're the same, like cheerful, like I don't want to say dumb, but like eccentric, I
Like
guess.
Genki.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Genki,
like
yeah.
Genki is the best
energetic,
word. Yeah.
like over energetic, and then the other two, they're just like kind of dealing with their crap, and he's like, okay, let's just do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do all feel very different from each other. They all have their different characteristics, and overall, they seem like just like really like they seem like real people with not just like waifus, you know.
Yeah, I like that statement that they're real people. They feel like a real friend group. I think Pete kind of said that earlier, but they feel like they could be a real friend group or group of friends in real life. And I especially liked that they are overcoming what to some people may not seem like big problems in their lives, right? Like um I don't know, like the main girl herself, right, or Mari, the one that we follow first. I've never done anything meaningful is like her main struggle, right? Or that she's like, oh, I've never really done anything for myself. What is her solution? Going to Antarctica. Like that's such a weird solution, but it is one because it's a goal, it's a journey, it's a trip that you have to plan and commit to, and it forces her to do so. She's not and allows her to move on from Megumi. Well, maybe not move on, but grow out of Megumi's shadow. And to some people, that might not seem like a big deal. Like, oh well, oh she literally just did something. Like that's not that big of a deal. But to her, it means the world to have this opportunity and to be able to grow that can relate to a lot of people. I feel a lot of people can relate to it. So yeah, I agree that this is a very character driven show, and it's hard not to find a character that you get attached to, in my opinion at least. Because even the adults, even the side characters, all have their own little quirks and their flair to them as well, and they're very important to the story and helping nurture these. What are they? Well, when you think about it, they're 16, 17-year-old girls going to Antarctica. Like that's not a real thing that would happen, but it makes the show feel real
But
because there
I
are
think you
adults
just said
going
that
along.
like the reasoning on how 16 and 17-year-old girls get to Antarctica, I think
Yeah.
legit would like logically kind of makes sense in this show.
It makes sense in the show,
It's
right?
for
Yeah, and like
profit. Like that's
right,
why they get to go. I'm like, that's genius. It's not just like, hey, these random teenage girls are going
are
on
being
an
allowed.
adventure. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
they're being allowed to join scientists who have studied for decades to be able to go to this. It's like, no, there's an actual legitimate
yep.
reason for why they're able to go. Which again, like I said, like so yeah, it makes sense in this show that they're allowed to go, and I think it was really well done. That's what I liked about it. For me, my biggest frustration with this show was with Megumi and her arc in the show.
Oh god,
I
I
did not
hated
like her.
her.
Me
I
too.
Yeah,
hated her.
I
I
literally
think you're supposed to hate her. I understand you're supposed to hate her too. So
No, but
it's not.
I hate her reasoning too. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't like her. I don't know. It's just like, all right, well, now you're finding out that this person that you think is a friend isn't really a friend, and that means you should move on from them, or you should not be their friend anymore. And that's not a lesson that it seems like Mari really learns, especially as I was reminded because I had forgotten about it. The last scene of the show, or something like that, where she texts Megumi, who does something of her own, goes to the Arctic instead of the Antarctic, I guess. God, I forgot that even happened
I don't say
until we
how,
talked
dude. Just
about it.
she's just there, like
She's just there, yeah. But of course, I feel
well,
like
they were
that's an
gone for
easier
like
trip.
3 months.
she's just
Well, that too.
vibing.
But even then, that's an easier trip than to Antarctica. I would feel like because most of the Arctic is like Russia, right? Like it's or Greenland, whatever you want to say. Like
Scandinavia and
assuming
all
some.
that jazz, you can like
Yeah,
get up to that circle.
exactly. You can get up there pretty easily, I would think, as like a tourist thing. Versus Antarctica is, it's hard to see on a globe, but it's literally thousands of miles or hundreds of miles from the nearest city in the world, probably being like South Africa or some port in Australia. Like that's it's pretty damn far. It's not something that people want to go to either, usually. So
Yeah, like the Antarctic is the Antarctic is meant for people to be there to research and it's like scientific shit, while the Arctic is just like, hey, we're in Antarctica. We're in Antarctica. Bye. Like,
Arctica.
we're in Antarctica. Yeah.
Antarctica.
Why is it not called Antarctica? By the way, that's so annoying. God,
You
people
want to
are.
know why? Because ants live in Antarctica. Fun fact.
Oh gosh, that makes so much
She was that
sense.
episode 12 with all those ants.
Yeah, did you see the ants in
Oh!
Avatar?
Oh
in,
shit!
in the
I
mother's
forgot
body,
about that.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no!
no.
Oh no!
Hold
That's
on
a,
a second.
that's a
Sorry.
Send all complaints to Pat at whatyousayAnime.com.
Yeah,
Ooh.
please. Oh, we have a website now. That's awesome.
Yeah, we all have personalized emails too.
also an email address. Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, no, I'm
Does
excited.
mine mention something about my age?
It's Johnny13 at whatdoyousayAnime.com.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it.
Yep. There we go. Yeah, so send all your hate
Remember,
to
I'm
me
not actually
because I like to
13.
make fun of shows like this. Yeah, no, he's not actually 13.
I'm
Thankfully,
12.
thankfully. Thank you.
Yeah.
Clarifying.
It's yeah.
We're glad we clarified even further that he is not 13, but instead 12. Great. Um,
The age is going down.
that's where we want it to go, right? Based on our pre-show banter, thankfully, that we will probably release as a bonus little thing, I guess.
Oh,
Or if
for
you want to hear it, come into the come into the Discord. Come join us. Here's our mid-show plug because we like to improvise
Nice
and make shit
plug.
on the
Nice
spot.
plug.
Thank you. Join the
Yeah.
Discord. We have
Alright.
fun. We shoot
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shit.
Come in and hear Pete shit on me for every opinion I have.
True.
Yeah.
I
True.
mean, that's what we all do.
It's kind of like what we all do. But yeah,
I
that's
defend
okay.
Johnny sometimes. As
he
long
tries.
as
Time you shit on me too.
as long as it's not Attack on Titan related,
You're kind of like the public toilet, Johnny.
um.
Oh, cat.
So
no.
did we? Sorry, I had to step out for a second. But did we talk about like the first few episodes and like why some people thought they were slow or whatnot? Or
Well, so for me, I think it was because I hadn't gotten attached to the characters yet. Like
okay,
I think outside of the Megumi. So like I was just saying, like Megumi, I did not like her at all. So I didn't, even though the story or the idea of or her purpose made sense, right? That you weren't supposed to like her, you were supposed to see her as this oppressive person in Mari's life. That doesn't change the fact that I didn't like it, so I wasn't enjoying it. But for me in general, though, too, even the first few episodes, I felt they were just slow. Like it felt. I'll use the show's symbolism here. It felt like we were walking through this story, and then once the running scene started, that's when we started to really, pick up the pace and start getting interesting to me. I think that when did that running scene happen? Was it episode like 3 or 4 when they were running away from?
Yeah, that was 3, and that was
Yeah,
such
that-
so
Yeah.
good.
really, I thought that scene was so weird. Why were they doing that? That didn't make any sense.
Why they were
Like-
running away? Because they got scared
I-
because they're kids. And
Why? I don't
I'm
understand.
kind of with Miles on this one.
Yeah,
Like,
they were going
scared.
to
Okay,
a meeting.
I'll give you. I can give you the exact. You ever been to like? Did you ever go to a? Maybe this doesn't apply to Miles. Do any of you guys ever go to like a party in high school, like a house
First off,
party?
I
nah.
absolutely did.
Okay.
I
well,
just didn't drink.
do you know how like when someone says like, "Oh shit, it's the cops," like jokingly, then everyone just like
Oh.
runs out and stuff like
No,
that.
for
Even though
sure,
there's no
actually,
no
okay,
cops.
Never mind. I've never been in a setting where that's
Okay, well that has happened to me and a lot of people, and that's how I kind of felt, just like, cops run by, and they just run, and that's kind of how I
weren't
felt.
cops. It
Oh,
was
I know,
people- it
but
was
they're scared of
the
the
people they were supposed to
they're
meet.
scared of like the conflict that is going to happen if they like talk to them. They're afraid of like what was going to happen because
Especially
they're
Shirase had
scared. They're
described
scared
them-
16-year-old girls.
So I guess I get like Shirase running. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't get it. I mean, it was fun, right? Like they had fun doing it. The scene was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was a kind of dumb scene, but it was a fun dumb scene.
You know what?
I'm
I
not
think
like,
you're a dumb scene, but you're kind of fun too.
Thanks, man.
But
I'll
it's
take
just
it.
like it's just like, why would she be so scared if she knows who they are? It's just
Because if anything, well, for one, this is a conflict that Shirase has, especially later on in like episode 12, when she's deciding whether or not to actually go to the base inland or not. She doesn't. She wants to know what happened to her mother, or she wants to know if her mother's alive, but she also doesn't at the same time. She wants to hold on to that hope, right? And by meeting these people, she's taking one more step towards actually, deep down, she knows, finding out for sure that her mother is dead.
Exactly, Pat.
That is something that she is scared of finding out, and so she gets cold feet. Is that the wet feet?
Yeah, cold
the
feet,
Cold,
yeah.
cold feet.
Cold feet.
It's cold
Thank you.
feet.
I mix up idioms all the time, and it's terrible. But yeah, so she gets cold feet, and she's like, "This is oh no, I need to go, I need to run." And she ran at other times too. She ran away from people trying to help her in high school, right? Like they show that happening. So and again, it just all builds up to that final episode or second to the last episode where she finally decides, you know what, I can't run from this anymore. I need to do this. My friends are here to help me. And God, that episode was so
Also,
good.
a little
Okay,
fun
so
the foreshadowing
understand
for
the running.
Hinata was pretty cool in that episode too. Just
Oh,
that
'cause
that
she could book it.
because she could run, and that's the reason why she's like not at school anymore. I thought that was just like a really cool like little.
I want to get into that later. I didn't understand the bullying thing that happened with her. That's like later, so let's talk about it later. But I just wanted to get that concept out.
That's actually one of the things that I really want to talk about
Yeah, it
too.
was really
So
weird. But okay, so what I really liked about the first episodes, I guess, is that everything was so goal oriented. Like you spend like episode 1 figuring out what the issue is, right? And then 2 through I don't know 7, 8, whenever they end up in Antarctica, are like steps on this journey. and I liked that. Like, there was a lot of things, like even the thing where they're like running around and like trying to sell themselves for money or whatever. Um, like, like they're trying to do things in order to get the goal they want to achieve done. Um, and so like I was like invested in that. Like, of course I know they're going to end up in Antarctica. I watched the OP, but I just thought it was like that perseverance and that journey. I feel like is like kind of the point of the show. Where like especially for Mari, right? Like it was less about where she ended up and more about the process of
and committing to a process
committing
and
to it,
doing
not being
Yeah.
afraid of failure, like
Mhm.
not, like if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, but at least I tried, sort of thing. So like I was like invested in all of that, and like her, her deciding to keep going, not getting discouraged by her awful friend, who is the worst person in anime, and yeah, just
Violet.
so bad. No, Violet's a much better person than her.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I don't think Violet's a bad person. I just think Violet shouldn't have been a super soldier. So that was, but you know who should have been a dead soldier? Megumi.
Wow.
Yeah,
I hate her.
sending
I-
children to war, Miles.
It's like
That's what
her
Japan
and
did.
Dolores
Oh,
Umbridge
I'll hold
are
my
like
tongue.
my fictional nemesis. So that like I liked, but I felt like once they got to Antarctica, there was like a few episodes of like, well, I guess we're here now. And then that sort of picked up again with episode 12, which I thought was good. I mean, I think that the story that I got the most invested in was Shiraze's story. Um,
The Idol.
no,
no.
the
Dead
girl with the
mom.
mom.
Sorry.
the
just
main-
Shirase. Okay, sorry.
Like the second girl that we meet.
Yeah,
I-
me too. I agree with you. That's sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at their names, and it's like there's Shiraishi, and then there's Shirase.
Oh yeah,
so it's
her
like, yeah,
her
yeah.
surname or whatever is very similar to the first name of the
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry,
So
that's my fault.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's okay. So like, yeah, like I really liked that. Like her journey, like a lot. And I liked how they had different reasoning and stuff for going. Like my favorite reason for going was Yuzu's, who was the idol girl, where she didn't even want to go to Antarctica, but she was like, she wanted friends so bad that she was like, sure, I guess I will go to this desolate, barren, cold desert at the bottom of the earth, in order to try to achieve this. Which I thought was like, I mean, it's nice, right? Like, I mean, people want friends. Friends are very good, and like, I would go to Antarctica for my friends, and she was willing to like do that to like forge those bonds. So I don't know. I guess that's just sort of like why I liked the beginning. I feel like the journey is like the super important part. I liked that it started slow and was like cumbersome because that's like kind of the point, right? That like doing something like this with your life isn't just a thing you do in 2 episodes. You don't just get to go to Antarctica. You have to do all of this stuff in order to make the trip possible. And so I thought it was like really good that they included all of the, like the meetings and the negotiating to figure out how they can go, and stuff that I guess seems boring, I think is like important because it shows the perseverance of the characters.
It's not something you do in 2 episodes. It's something you do in 8.
Yeah.
Well played.
I like that too. In hindsight, that's all.
Okay.
It started very slow for me, and I was just like, man, I don't really understand why this is so light. And then, I kept watching. I was like, okay,
So
this
maybe
is
because I'd already gotten like the TLDR of like the message and stuff, that like I could start applying that to like my first initial watch through. That might have helped me out.
It definitely helps to have someone guiding you or encouraging you to finish something, just like it does when help to have someone encouraging you to finish any project or supporting you in any way. So that's another relation. that
Life
this show
lessons with
has, a
Pat.
life lesson.
Unless you
Watch
have
Code-
executive
this
watch
show
Code
teaches
Geass.
you.
Aha!
It's the watch Code Geass. Yeah, getting there. It's getting there. But yeah, so I don't know. I think what we can just go around, I guess, and each talk about what our favorite or why which story resonated with us the most. I guess. I mean, because this show,
I
it's
think
like
it's a good idea.
there's not really much to talk about. It's not like it's again, like what we've been talking about, it's a character-driven show, and obviously it's about the journey, right, or the adventure that they go on. But it's not like it's a very plot-heavy adventure or anything, right? They just go to Antarctica and things happen, and that's it, right? So what sub-adventure, I guess, resonated with you guys the most? Miles, I think you were just saying that the Yuzuki or the idols resonated best with you. So, Kat, what about you? Which of the four main goals or journeys resonated with you the best?
So this is gonna sound kind of like, I'm not gonna say how it sounds, but here's the thing. So the one that resonated the most with me is Shirase's. That's main girl. Uh,
Hmm.
because her story seems a lot like a lot of the stories that I can tell from my own personal experience. Because a lot of the time when I have something that I need to do, I'm scared of the end result. Like
Yeah.
because one of the things with me is that I can, like, I'm always analytical when I'm thinking about the odds of the ending of something. So like the odds of the ending of One Piece, like the ending of One Piece is either going to be they get the One Piece and they all split up like the original whatever, or it's going to be Luffy dies, the end, or they all die, the end. Like
Hmm.
those are your three options. I mean, they might like come out of the blue with something and be like, "Oh, to be continued, never," or but they probably won't do that unless the mangaka dies before the end of One Piece, which is highly possible.
Yeah, you never
Um,
know with with that show, right? Yeah.
but like you see where I'm going with this. Like a lot of my stories end up being like I know how this is going to end, and it becomes a lot of like ending anxiety. So a lot of the times when I'm like writing books, I get like really cold feet because I don't know how I want to end it because I want to end it in a way that a lot of people aren't expecting. But the three ways that I can end a story are ways that everyone's going to expect at some point in time. And the thing is, like, having that versus like having the ways that my jobs have ended, like either firing or quitting, or the ways that I have just lived my life. Like it's always that same story over and over and over again. And it just resonates with me on a spiritual level. But the thing that really inspired, like, even though at the beginning I said it didn't inspire me, I lied. I lied. So the thing is, like, with the story, like it really did inspire me to, even though I know, like I know in the back of my mind how this story is gonna end. Like even though I know something's gonna happen at the end of the story, and it's gonna be one of the things that I think is gonna happen because I'm not fucking dumb. Um, like I I'm willing to put forth the work, put forth the effort to see it through, even though like it's gonna be this prescribed thing. And as I get closer to it, I know I'm gonna get to this prescribed thing. I do know that I get solace in the fact that I had the willpower to go through and see that it was true rather than letting myself feel the anxiety of not knowing the truth. Like that's the thing that really like resonated with me with Shirase's story. And even though I can kind of resonate with Hanada's story, that is Shirase's story is a lot more close to home to me.
No,
Brilliantly said.
I like that.
Hey,
Johnny, what have you?
but
What?
before Johnny, Cat, you can come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams, because together we can find whatever we're looking for. One Piece. All right, Johnny, go ahead.
Uh, I'm gonna go with Miles here and say that Yuzuki's story was definitely my favorite because again, a lot of times when you're watching like movies or media, you tend to like the characters that you yourself are able to relate to. It's why so many people love Hachiman because we're all lonely weebs, you know.
Well, speak for yourself, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like
Pete's just lonely.
yeah, Pete wishes he had anime girls to love him, but anyways.
Yeah,
So
who
like
doesn't?
What?
like Yuzuki, like you
Go ahead,
Yuzuki,
Johnny.
Fuck you all. You-
You said it.
Yuzuki's story is that like she doesn't exactly know what friends are. She has this very like she has a very different like concept of what a friend is because like you see all the stuff she does like she was afraid to be separated from them so much that she went up to them and was like, hey, here's a contract to be my friend. Which like considering like what her job is, it's kind of like it's like you kind of expect her to do that, but at the same time, like that's just like that's
I
just
need to
so
say, I
sad.
found that a bit ridiculous. I understand the point they were going, but I'm going to stick to this. And I don't know, maybe it's just my job to like not understand introverted people and
It
stuff
kinda
in
is.
these
You are
anime.
correct. You don't understand. Okay, but anyway,
But like, no one doesn't get friendship that much. No one does. Like everyone understands.
I-
Like it,
I here's the thing.
she typed
I
up
just
a piece of paper and at no point thought, "This is ridiculous. What am I doing?"
disagree. It's because you see, like the way she grew up, like she barely had any time with the other people at school. All she had, like after school, was just work. So
No,
she basically,
okay, yeah. So I think it makes sense that she doesn't understand how friendship works, and I think it makes sense that maybe she doesn't like understand that it's like a passive thing, maybe, or the nuances and the ins and outs that you have in a friendship that you like learn over time through like being social. Like again said she was my favorite little story arc. I really liked that. I liked her perseverance and I liked her willingness to like essentially go to a place she had no desire to in order to get what she was after in her life. But I'm just like the only thing, and it's really just a minor complaint, is that I thought it was a little bit ridiculous that she wrote a contract.
I do agree. It's a bit exaggerated since I've never thought about doing that, or nor have I ever seen someone do that, writing a contract. Say, please be my friend.
Yeah, I think
But
it's
it's
supposed to
like
be like humorous, maybe. I don't know.
I think so. I don't.
I think it's a bit of humor, but also at the same time, it kind of fits given her character.
It's an anime. God.
Yeah, like things are meant to be ridiculous.
Laugh at
like,
it. It's an anime, and obviously a character is slightly more over the top than it should be because it's an anime. That's how they that's the way I looked at it, at least with the friendship thing. I was just like, okay, that's funny, that's cute. Like, oh, she really doesn't understand it. Just like with Violet. Oh man, she's just really good at that killing
Well, let's
thing.
not trigger Miles anymore.
Yeah, whatever. No, he triggered me. I took the bait. I'm sorry. I took the bait. But yeah, so Johnny, anyways,
It's a bait.
so go ahead and finish what you were saying about
God, it sounds so like 2020 election time.
yeah. Oh, now
Whoa,
we get
we're past that. We can't do stop the count vote or jokes anymore.
Yes, thank God. Yeah, okay, Johnny, go.
yeah, but anyways, like fuck. Now I forgot what I was trying to say because
You're saying
here we
something
are.
about
Just
Yuzuki and her friend and like her desire for friendship. Is that what you're going?
yeah. So like the way that she acts is like she has this concept of what friends are, but she like her views on what they are is like completely different from what they actually are. It's like what she wants is like she's like 1 year younger than the rest of the girls, so it was her first year in high school. So then like she like out of nowhere she's like, okay, I'm in high school, I need to be friends. So she just straight up goes up to these girls and is like, hey, can you guys please be my friends? Like that was pretty like that was pretty
It's
sad.
funny. I think that's a real thing too that a person might do.
Yeah,
Is
and
go
then
up to
like I
people
think
and
like at
be my
first
friend.
they were willing to because like she's an idol and they wanted to be popular, but like they were kind of like using her kind of like for clout. Like, hey, look, I'm friends with like this super famous girl or whatever. But like they actually didn't make any effort to be friendly with her or like try to actually be her friend.
So I
But
thought that she was afraid to, I could be wrong here, but like I thought that like they invited her to things, and she was like, "No, like I don't want to go or I can't go," and she was sort of like scared to like do any of that for whatever reason. And
no, that's not
so
the case.
No.
They show a scene where like the girls come up to her and they're like, hey, like we should do whatever. Like, okay, that sounds great. And then like, can you take a picture with us? And she's like, oh, you only want to be my friend so you can get clout.
well, that was the first. Okay, so that's the
No,
scene
but
where
so
she
no,
says, "Can we be friends with each other?"
No, so Miles, you see like you see that they made like a group chat, and then she
Yes.
texts something, and then no one else replies. So what they're saying is basically like they only wanted to like be her quote unquote friend for like clout. Basically, they didn't actually make
Okay.
the effort
I
to
think
be
I just
friends
like
with her.
completely misunderstood that because what I remember is like those girls being like, "Hey, like, do you want to do the thing?" And she was like, "No, I can't do the thing." And
No,
then
that's not what it was. I think
I
it
think
was.
that
I think
happened, but I don't think
was
that
it?
was like
Did
the.
it?
I felt like I think me and Johnny are like on the same wavelength, whereas more of like her quote friends that she was trying to have were mostly in it for her being like an idol instead of her actually like as a person. It's kind of like the vibe I got off of like why she didn't have any friends.
See,
yeah,
like
Does that make
that's
maybe.
sense? Maybe we're digging too deep into this.
Well, no, I think that
I,
I
no,
think
I don't think this is too deep. It's
I
just
think she was concerned about that. Like, I think that was a concern in her head. I just don't know if that was like a real thing. Like, I don't know. Like, if someone was famous and like they were like, "Hey, want to be friends?" They'd be like, "Yeah, but like, yo, can I get a picture?" Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't met any famous people, so fuck if I know. Kelly
So
Olynyk.
the
Um,
thing. Oh, sorry, didn't mean
no,
to.
go.
Okay, so the thing that I got from Yuzu's story, because it's a lot closer to my girlfriend's story. Not going to dig into her story because not my story to tell. But thing is, like, it's more about how like she has something that can something that a lot of people want, and they want to be friends because of that. And then what ends up happening is they end up becoming friends with because she has something that they want and they want to be and they want to use that to their advantage. So while they use that to their advantage, they undermine the person that has these talents.
yeah.
Uh, so that ends up becoming a huge issue. And then at the end of that friendship, whether it ends on a high note, technically, or a very, very low note, which most of the time is the latter, um,
That's the spirit.
that
Yeah.
they they just end up like it ends up becoming a bad it just ends up becoming a bad place in somebody's life, and for Yuzu it ended up kind of traumatizing her because like after her outburst with uh Mari and Su and Shiriashi and Hinata, like they all like they were just like, yo, like we met each other like not even a month ago. Like we're not even close to be a best friend. What you talking about? Like it was something like that. Like the like having that preconceived notion that everyone here is out to get clout and I'm here and they're looking for me to give them clout. Like
Okay,
that's
see,
what they're
here's the
for.
thing. I don't think that was what the scene was about. Because I think what the scene was about was it was to show how her perception on what friends were completely different from everyone else. Because her perception was that people only become that way after they've been friends with each other for like years and have known each other for a long time. But no, they literally just met. It was meant to show how her perception on friends was just so much different from everyone else. She didn't like understand what it meant to be friends. Like he goes on to like ask all these questions like, when did you become friends? And everyone else is like, I don't know, it just happens. Like you don't go out of
I'm
your
with you,
way to look
Johnny.
for you don't look go out of your way to look for friends. They just happen.
Exactly.
It like you don't go into high school. It's like, okay, who do I think would become a suitable friend for me? Like that kind of thinking is what she had, which is just is not realistic. It's not something that happens in everyday life. It's not something that you should be trying to like use to become friends with people. And
And
that's the thing I got. I don't think she was scared that they were looking for clout. I think what she was, I think the reason, I don't think she was scared about like them trying to use her, even though like, wait, actually, now that I think about it, that's exactly what they were doing, weren't they?
Because that's how I felt, and I thought we were on the same wavelength type of thing.
So I would say that there is some happy twist of irony where she made friends because people decided to use her.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
100%.
I guess that's the way to look at it. I guess
Um,
that's the way to look at it. Yeah. Thank you, Miles. I was just like, oh, he's right.
But the difference,
Um,
Miles, is those people are actually nice. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that that's like, I mean, you end up like, fate throws you with like lots of random people, and some of the people you hit it off with, and she never really hit it off with those girls in her high school, and I think that's like, I think it's less than them like wanting clout with her, and more of her learning that like just because she said let's be friends and they agree doesn't make you friends, and just because the other girls never said hey we're friends now doesn't mean they're not friends. That friendship is that bond between you, that like silent getting to know each other and sharing of interests and sharing of stories that happens um as you spend time with someone.
Yeah, I
um
agree with you on that one.
so like, I think that she might have even been confused about like why she wasn't fulfilled by like having friends or whatever, because she like quote unquote had them um initially, because she like did her contract thing. Will you be my friend? Check yes or no. Like
Well, that
kind
was
of.
later on in the
Yeah,
show.
well, but she so that was like actually written, but like she essentially tries to get a verbal contract at the beginning, right? Like
You
as
think
you
like
said,
her
like
job plays a part of that too? Because like she's like a professional like actress and idol, she probably
I
signs
think her job
contracts
is
and
a
stuff like
very
that.
big role on
That's
that.
what I interpret it as. Yeah, it's just like her going about her business or being used to having to do stuff like that to like interact with people or to make business deals go through or to like that. That's how I interpret it at
I
least.
viewed it as getting some sort of insurance, possibly inside. But like the last time she had like asked someone like, "Let's be friends," they said yes, but then like nothing came of it. And so I
Mhm.
think that like, probably because like she's used to signing contracts and being like obligated to that, like maybe that's why she decided to do that, because she wanted to ensure fruition from that like verbal agreement or whatever.
Mhm.
She wanted to
Um,
have long-term consent. Is so she actually she wanted to
Meant
be
to
like,
be friends.
"Oh, you're my friend now. You cannot leave."
you actually have to be my friend. I'm sorry.
You are contractually obligated
You
to
should
be
have
my
read the
friend.
fine print.
She have future yandere. It's like later in their lives when they're like trying to leave or go on their separate ways. She's like, no, you're my friend. Stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got a bit off topic, but that's okay because that's normal for us. But Pete, which story resonated with you the most? To
Okay,
pull it all back.
sure.
'Cause
So it's 100% Mari, and I'll tell you my story why it's Mari. So during the time I was watching A Place Further Than the Universe was the exact same time that my mom was going through chemotherapy. So and she's fine, by the way. So it was more of just like me going through this. This is the first time that this has happened in my life, where I had this like life changing event with my mom, and it was just like what am I doing with my life right now that I can like look back on and say, wow, I'm really glad I did this. And I really couldn't, because I wanted to like leave I wanted to have like memories that way I can like pass them on and tell stories and stuff like that. And it really changed my life. And I thought Mari kind of had that same thing, even if it was as simple as her just wanting to experience the youth. I resonated with that. Like, I want to experience, maybe I didn't get to experience my youth because I was going to college and I was working full time and all this stuff like that. But like, how can I, like, maybe in my mid 20s, how can I make the most of my mid 20s or something like that? And it's like, well, I wanted to be passionate about something, and I will always have been about various different things. And at the time of my life, it was anime. So I was like, well, let's start a podcast. And I was like, it wasn't just like a hesitation. It was like, she just goes for it. And I just went with it. I'm just like, I'm going to start a podcast. Like, that's what I'm doing. Like, no one's going to stop me. And that's how, like, honestly, since then, I have like continued living my life. I know when I'm going to his wedding, Miles asked me if I wanted to go to his wedding. I said yes. Like, I'm not even going to think about it. Like, I'm just going to do it. Like, what's the worst case that's going to happen? Like, it's going to be a great time. Like, I always think like,
Pandemic.
no, I mean, this is going to be after the pandemic, I hope. But like,
It will be canceled if there is still a pandemic going
yes,
on.
it's kind of like the opposite of like what Kat says. Kat thinks about the outcome before like the actual like experience, and then kind of like bases it off that. I just go for it. Like, whatever happens, happens. I know it's cliche and everything like that, and that's what I resonated with Mari a lot, because she's just like, oh, you're going to Antarctica? Let me read this book real quick. And she read the book, A Place Further Than the Universe, in the show. And she's like, I'm going to do it. Like, who cares? Maybe there's something cooler that I can do with my life, but this sounds great right now. Let's just go with it. And that's almost exactly how I live my life. I'm just like, if I want to do something, I just go and do it. And so yeah, Mari.
Don't look at the price, just swipe.
Exactly. I don't check the price. All I do is swipe. She said, "What's your type?" And I said, "I like what I like." And it's just it's
God.
Massive anime titties.
You missed the point, Johnny. But
Yeah,
No,
okay.
I don't think he
Too
missed
young.
it. I think Johnny fingered Pete right there.
Whoa! Hey, whoa! Time out! Time out! Time out! Time out! Time out! Time out!
Okay,
Johnny
fine.
did not do that.
NTR.
Johnny did not do that.
Then how
Yeah.
do you explain that white spot there?
What white spot? You can't even see my camera right now.
I can't.
There's a One Piece poster behind me. What are you talking about?
He fucking sensed disturbance in the force and he just realized.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mari,
Orgasm.
love. I'm gonna shift away from you. Whatever you guys talk about. Mari, I loved her story. I mean, I know it sounds really dumb, but like this is the one people's life change based off like music and songs. Like they hear the Beatles for the first time, they want to pick up a guitar or something like that. Some people watch like a Steven Spielberg movie and like, hey, I want to be a director. And for me, it was a place within the universe, and it was more of just like I want to live my life like how I want to, and just I literally just do whatever I want. And it's literally like the only piece of media I think that has legit like changed my life. So, and I think Mari is that character.
I think that her journey that is depicted is very similar to like what you were saying about like just taking something and going with it, because you didn't feel like you had, if you were to die tomorrow, what would your legacy be, right? Is that
Yeah,
that
it's just
kind of it's a worry, it's a constant thought that some people have, and I guess that ties into what I was going to say next. It's funny because like we've had a pretty even split, I think, so far, like 2-2 split of the Shirase and Mari, or no, sorry. No, we haven't. We had two
I was
two
like, no.
Shirase. No, but again, it's the names. It's the names messing me up. We've had one for Shirase, one for Izuki, and one for Mari, right? And I
Two
feel
for
two for Shirase. Sorry.
One for Shirase, two for Yuzu, and one for Mari. We got it.
Wait, no,
But-
aren't you? No,
Yes.
Yuzu's the idol. Miles, weren't you
Ye-
Yuzu?
Yes.
my
So we've had one person to be Shirase. That was Kat. We had two of us be for Yuzu. That was me and you, Johnny. We agreed on that.
Yes.
And then one person who we just heard from was Mari. That was Pete.
We
That-
did it!
No, but you
We
said
did
two.
it!
Someone said two Shirase. Okay, well,
It's-
whatever. Okay,
no,
we got it
it's-
now. We got it now. We got it now.
Again, it's the names. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names, and it doesn't help when they're very similar. For
So
me,
round us out with the Hinata. Let's go.
yeah, no, I wish. I
Okay.
liked Hinata a lot. I really did. Like she's my best girl. I'll just say it right now. I really enjoyed her character the best. But I think the stories of Shirase and Mari both resonated a lot with me. Where for me, Mari's story resonated with me because it's like, man, what legacy am I gonna leave as a person? Like if I don't know, maybe I just projected onto Pete, but I assume he felt the same way. If I died tomorrow, what would my legacy be? How would people remember me? And well, now I can say I was a college graduate, right? Like versus like before, I couldn't, and I was panicking, and I have this like, like like I don't know. It's what is my legacy, and is it important to have a legacy? Well, no, not necessarily. It's up to some people it is, to some people it isn't. But it's important to me. So like I want people to remember me. I want to have an impact or a place in this world that is that people will remember me by. And uh that's what Mari I think suffers from. Maybe not to that level of seriousness that I was feeling, but she at least she wants to do something that she feels like is worth remembering or worth knowing. Versus then Shirase's story of uh the best way I can put it is just with the the title of the show, A Place Further Than the Universe. That is where her mother is at the start of the show, at the middle of the show, and at the end of the show. And her trying to reach that place that is
Okay.
further than the universe, the journey itself. It's so poetically beautiful that I can't get enough. I love the title, and I loved episode 12, which is where we kind of see the resolution of Shirase's story, right? With the email scene where you realize these messages that she's been sending her mother had not been getting through to her because of course she was dead. The ants, we go back to the ants. um The message just it's very clear that the message was not getting through to her because it is too far of away of a place to get to because it is just not possible. She's dead, and she cannot talk to her anymore. She can't reach her anymore. But and it's about her coming to terms with that, and I think that resonated with me because death is a scary thing to me. I am terrified of my own mortality. I'm terrified of my family's mortality, and I cannot come to terms with it. I don't think I ever will. I really don't know if I will because it's scary and sad, but it's just the fact of
No,
life.
that's
And
exactly the
Shiraz,
thing I was going through when this was going on. So I know exactly what you're saying, Pat.
like I am going to die someday, and I am scared, but it's something I have to come to terms with, and I will never be able to talk to my mother or father again someday, and that is something that you have to accept and be willing to live with in life, and it is shown in this show so well, and uh, that's why I related so well to Shirai. I hope I didn't get too morbid or realier, but again, that's the thing about this show. It's cute girls doing cute things, but it's about some very serious problems and or things that happen in people's lives, and the tragic nature of her mother's backstory or the backstory behind her mother's story. It's it's sad, but it is real. It is something that happens to people, maybe not in Antarctica, but it happens to people every day with the loss of life and moving on. And I don't know. Again, I didn't mean to get too dark or too into it, but I think
And
that's how it works.
and one thing about what you said is that I can actually relate to that too, uh because the people that I've lost in my life, like my uncle and my great great grandma, no, my great grandma, like I sometimes I still like pass by like where they used or near where they used to live, and I'm like, why am I not going in there anymore? And then I'm reminded that she's not there anymore. And every time I go past there, every time I look past that alley of where her old house was, I'm still her old house still is. It's just being used for someone else. I look back there and I'm like, oh yeah, and then it just completely goes out of my mind, and I forget that she even existed sometimes, and then when I think about it again, I for some reason I feel guilty. um like I know that she probably didn't want me to like feel like
Hmm.
that way, but like it's still having that thought that like I still kind of want to talk to her because the people around me that did talk to her and did have enough like consciousness to tell her their stories of their life and trade stories with her, they were able to get so much more. They were able to be so much closer to her, and I guess for me this is kind of like it almost is kind of like a training phase because like I'm still trying to come to terms with that, and I'm not ready, and I still don't think I'm ready to have like someone that I've traded stories with like over and over and over again for them to pass and to have to come to terms with holy shit,
Yeah,
they're going now.
yeah.
Like that's
It
yeah.
sucks.
Mortality. It's terrible. It's sad. It's terrifying, and it's a burden that the living carry as well. That's it's something that only three things, right, are inevitable: death, taxes, and then whatever the hell else you want to throw out there.
Tom Brady making the Super
Yeah, I was
Bowl.
like, is there a third thing? I only know the first two.
Well, yeah, that's the joke is usually the third thing isn't inevitable, but it feels like it, which of course, Tom Brady, I love you, buddy. I can't wait to root for you 2 Sundays from now.
Bullshit.
I can't wait. Oh
Agreed.
Pat's
yeah,
from
that's
New
right. Cats,
England.
cats, and yeah, I'm a New England Patriots fan, so uh, yeah, and just another reason for more people to hate me, I guess, but that's okay. Not my fault. I was born here. Um, Not my fault. I'm a winner. I'm sorry. Just
Yeah, you
uh,
contributed really well to those
I
teams.
have contributed so well. The one game I ever went to was Brady's last home game before the playoffs when they lost to the Dolphins and squeaked their way
Good
into
job,
the
Pat.
That's a
divisional.
hell of
Yeah,
a play to see, though.
Keep it up, man.
yeah. Well, I got to see a beautiful touchdown by Fitzpatrick, so I'll take that. Anyways, moving on to best girl now. There we go. We're gonna move along. This first show in a while, we've gotten to do a best girl. We're no longer in the Satoshi Kon world that we were, that was criticizing our nature to do something like this. So instead, we get to enjoy it this time. So Miles, why don't you start us off? Who is your best girl, your best waifu from the show?
So, a lot of these girls were great. A lot of them were wonderful. I'm going to dedicate most of my time to talking about Megumi, the biggest pile of garbage in anime. There is this thing called variable overflow, and would that exist for waifus, Megumi would be the best waifu because of all of the fucking negative numbers that appear in her. It would crash and go back up to the top. She has certain redeeming qualities. She is cancerous. I hate her. She is just like super petty and evil, and it's just a super real way to be it. You know, I figured maybe she started spreading those rumors because she was jealous and she didn't want her friend to leave and she was sad she was going to miss her or something. And she was like jealous of her new friends or whatever. And I was like, that's kind of shitty, but I'm going to get it. And then she starts confessing what she does. And she just goes on for like 30 minutes. It's like the entire episode is dedicated to this girl's sins. And you're like, oh my God, this has entirely been a Machiavellian plot by this girl to like get her to not go to Antarctica, you selfish person. Oh my God.
The variable overflow, that is a great.
Yeah, that's a clip right there. That's a
I
clip.
like that.
I hate her. Anyways, I'm gonna say Kanane was my favorite waifu, who is the best friend of the captain, the brunette girl. I thought she was really cute.
I can
So that's your
relate to
best waifu / girl, or just best waifu?
Best waifu. Oh, best girl. I don't know. My best girl, probably Shirate. It takes a brave person to go and confront something like the loss of a parent in such a dramatic fashion. And I think it's very, Antarctica is a dangerous place, and it's a dangerous place because it's affected you so personally. And it's very admirable to go and do that. So
I agree completely. Kat, what have you got for best girl / and I guess best wife who's different? What we are. I don't know. It's tough because like we've talked about these girls so much now. With all their.
Just name some characters you like, Kat.
Yeah. Best girl, best waifu.
My as I'm gonna follow Miles's recipe for best girl and best waifu. So as Miles has shit on Megami, it is now my turn. So let me start off with this. I'm sure we've all had a Megami in our life. I'm sure Megami reminds us of that person if we've forgotten about them. Now the thing is, Megami, it started off as a friend. She started off as a friend that became a fake friend very quickly. Well, not very quickly, but like she became a fake friend nonetheless. But I'm sure all of us remember a Megumi in our life. Well, for me, my Megumi happened to be a dude named Colton. Colton.
Fuck
would-
Colton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm sure all of us can agree that Colton, just the name Colton, is kind of like the name Richard.
Unless you're a fan of the podcast, then we love that Colton.
Yeah.
Colton's a very North Carolina name. I was gonna say I feel like that's more like Richard is a good one for like us northeastern people or
it's
southern people. Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
It's a
Or a
it's
dick.
It's
yeah.
It's the
Richard's a
southern.
dick.
It's a southern like Richard. But like I mean, North Carolina name is Hunter for sure, but like that's half of North Carolina. But like here's the thing. So Colton used to like pick on me for being black, because racism is fun.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the things that Colton ended up repenting for was that he was racist, and his father was racist too, but his father died because of cancer. That's a whole nother story. Whether it's warranted or not, I don't know.
We have had a freaking dark episode.
Yeah,
guys.
we have.
I
Yeah.
just want to say
Not
It's
even
been a
including
lot.
not even including the pregame.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing.
Yeah,
So
did you? Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. Oh my
so
god.
the thing is, like, Colton ended up like saying that I'm sorry for being racist. And the thing that spurred him on was that he sent his girlfriend at the time. Mind you, this is 7th grade. He sent his girlfriend at the time a picture of his dick, and then he got picked on by everyone in the school like this.
What
Okay,
was
so
he,
who's your best girl?
Anyway, sorry.
Like, what
I
are we
was
talking
I was
about
relating,
here?
I was just relating Megami to a person in my life. Anyway, so my best girl is, honestly, I'd have to say Hinata, mainly because
she's got the
I'll
tiny dick. That's what it is, right?
She has a
although
tiny dick.
Yeah.
wait, what?
No, sorry, bad
Continue,
joke. Move on.
please.
Continue.
Anyway, so the thing is, uh although I can relate a lot more to Shirase, excuse me, um, I I as a person relate a lot more to Hinata, because unless I'm like really goal oriented towards something, um, I'm just kind of like uppity and like I'm gonna do shit, like I'm gonna do some fuck shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what it is, but I'm gonna do it. But like, if I'm goal oriented, I'm more like Shirase, so that's why I relate. Anyway, so Hinata is my best girl. Waifu, honestly, because of the person that I'm dating, I'd probably have to say Yuzu. Mainly because the person that I'm dating is much like Yuzu,
There
just
you go.
Nice.
legal.
Makes sense. All right,
Thank
Johnny, what have
God.
you got?
Thank you for adding that last
Alright,
part.
well, I'm with you on that one. Yuzu is my best girl. I already said a lot of the points when we were talking about our favorite stories, but it's just for me, characters who I can relate to the most usually are the ones that are usually the ones that I like the most. And for Yuzu, another point that I didn't mention before is that like another thing that I like about her is that like when she has a job to do, like she takes it very seriously. But she takes it very seriously. Like, you can see like with like the reporting and stuff, she goes in there and just gets it done. Like she doesn't complain. She just does it, which is the one, which is one of the things that I. Which is one of the things that I often do. Is just like in school, I was never the type of guy to complain about an assignment or whatever. I'm just like, okay, let's just get this over with and be done with it, and then I'll complain after it's done. And this also happened to be like why a lot of people wanted to be with me when we had a group project, because I was the one that would do all the work. Another reason to relate to her, I guess. But yeah, she's my best girl.
I like it. All right, Pete, what have you got?
So while I resonated more with Mari, I thought that Hinata was the best girl in the show. I thought she like pushed the most people, and I really liked her like her spunkiness and everything like that. She really made every scene that she was in fun. I'm gonna steal this take from Miles. Every time she wore a shirt, it was a picture of a food, and I thought that was just like a really silly thing that they added to it. I really just like she felt like she was like the glue to like the group. I really enjoyed her character. Waifu, I'm gonna pick Gin, the captain, and to quote Toshiro, the guy who wants to confess to him, his quote was, "I like strong women. I like strong women, and she looks like she would protect me. And I also like strong women who protect me. So I'm gonna go with Jin as my waifu."
That's a good reasoning. I like that. For me, it's like waifu, it's Hinata. I think she's just the most fun out of the four. I think like just her personality, very bubbly, very fun. Versus best girl, probably yeah, I gotta go with Shirase. Just keep it short and sweet. It's just because the journey she goes on is so like incredible, and also she has Hana Kanazawa as her voice actor. So there you go. There's that going for her as well.
Daniel.
Yeah, yep. There you go. Good job, Johnny. Good, good
Nah.
job. All right. So now I think now that we've done best girl, we're ready to move on to our final scores and closing thoughts on the series. So Miles, as always, why don't you start us off and give us your score, please?
Yeah, so I really like this show. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a super pleasant ride. There were some moments that I thought were little weird or over the top or didn't make a ton of sense to me. But those were mostly minor, and you sort of understood the gist of what they were getting at. It's like maybe the execution was just like a little lacking for my personal taste. But I think it's a nice, inspiring story, and I think that I mean, I think it's just sort of like a fun ride from beginning to end. I very much liked it.
Yeah, that's completely fair. All right, Kat, what about you? What's your final score and your closing thoughts? Anything we thought we missed in this while talking about it, etc.
So my original score coming into this was going to be a 7, but after discussion, I'm actually raising it up to an 8. Mainly because mainly because I kind of harped on the my issue with like the pacing on it, but then after the discussion with you guys, like after listening to you guys, I kind of realized that that was kind of like I was just misunderstanding
Yeah.
the actual pacing of it. So I raised mine up because it really didn't matter too much in the show. I just do like I normally do, where it just sounds like I'm going to give it a 5 and give it a higher number. But like I've raised it up a point like I was going to. I now Megumi, a huge part of the show for me is definitely dropping it down 2 points.
Understandable.
Like if she was better executed, I'd probably give the show as a whole a higher score. But Megami does exist,
Yeah.
and she's a
And
piece of shit.
It's not her fault that our dumb main character forgave
But
her.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the thing is, so I'm giving it an 8.
Completely fair score. Hmm. All right. Oh, you were done. Okay, I thought you were gonna continue. Sorry, I'm sorry. Johnny, what have you got next? What's your score and what's your closing thoughts?
So so me, like the other people have said, I did have some issues with the pacing, but usually I'm fine with it as long as the conclusion, as long as the payoff is worth it. And
Hmm.
in this show, it certainly was. However, I just think that like the payoff could have been more. I just feel like sitting through like it's like 4 or 5 episodes where not much is happening, and then I feel like the rest of the show has to be like really good, which it was good. Didn't it just didn't hit me the same way that a lot of other shows I feel have done in the past. So I'm gonna give the show an 8. I still think it's a great show, but yeah, my score is an 8.
An 8. All right, there you go. No, I think that makes sense. Like, sometimes it just doesn't hit you the same way as it does other people. I'll think of an example that I can relate to by the time it's my turn to talk. But Pete, why don't you go next?
I think Violet Evergarden would probably be a really good one as well. To like, it
Well,
doesn't hit
yeah,
for
for
other
like
people.
miles, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah. But for me personally, I was saying myself.
Yeah. Shocking
yeah,
Nobody. I'm giving this a 10. This is
What?
this is my number 10 anime of all time. Nothing resonates more with me than this show. I love it so much. I don't know what Johnny was talking about. I thought it ended perfectly, minus the Megami shit. Like, I thought like
In my ending, it
Yeah.
ended
You
perfect.
just contradicted yourself.
no, you know what I mean. Like the people that we care about had like the conclusion that we were hoping for. Nobody cares about the other girl. Like, it was such a I don't know. Honestly, it should not even been in the show. But like the ending that for the people we cared about, I thought we got like all the closure that we wanted. I thought it ended perfectly. We even talk about like the animations are stunning. Madhouse is my favorite studio for a reason. The music was amazing. I love the OP. I know some people are like indifferent about it, but I loved it. The ED and the other just ending insert songs, because there's like a special insert song for episode 12 when after the laptop scene was just incredible.
Oh, stop.
There's so many things
that
about the
up.
show that I thoroughly enjoy. I love character-driven shows. This is a character-driven show. It's an easy 10 out of 10 for me.
There you go. Don't bring up the laptop scene. That's gonna get me going again. The waterworks flowing. So I guess for me, Made in Abyss just doesn't hit the same way for me. Maybe that's a good example for me.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Where I don't get the huge hype around it. It's fun, but it's not like mind blowing. But yeah. For me, for A Place Further in the Universe, a very different show from Made in Abyss with children and everything else.
Well, we
For me,
didn't mention the giant pile of flesh that
yeah.
was in Antarctica, like crying to be killed but couldn't be.
Yeah, we
It
forgot to
was
mention
a really dark moment. It really
Jeez.
ties the two shows together.
and the ants. Don't forget the ants. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we're
Uh,
talking about like Made in Abyss now. My
Yeah,
internet kind of slapped out.
no, somehow we got. That's my fault for bringing it up. We didn't even talk about the penguins. The penguins are the bomb in this show, right? Don't you
Yeah.
love the penguins? They're so cute, and again, that's just a nice little part about the show. It's slice of life elements. The slice of life elements are really really nice, and they're fun and they're pleasant. But then the journey itself is also an enjoyable ride for me with this show. Again, Megumi is tough. We've harped on her enough, but no, we haven't because she's terrible. She's the worst.
Hate her.
But yeah, I do too. It
She's
really
in
I
like
struggle.
3 episodes, and I can't think about how much I hate her like all the time. I just hate her.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So she overrides it a lot. But outside of that, this story is phenomenal. I remember watching it the first time and being blown away, and after rewatching, I rewatched the first episode or first few episodes to see if it was still as slow as I thought it was, and then the first time watching that is, and then I rewatched the final couple episodes as well, and uh, had me just as emotional, even though I know it's gonna happen. I know what's going on. Uh, it hits really close to home for me, the message that it's trying to send in multiple ways, and that's what I really liked about the show. So I ended up giving it a 9 out of 10. Again, it isn't perfect to me, and I think that there are things that I could have done better, like the ending, the resolution of them returning home. I think there could have been more there. However, it still is phenomenal. I loved this show, and I was so glad that I watched it. So our average of this show comes out to an 8.6, which
Pretty
we
close
are
to its Mal
almost
score.
exactly.
Oh
We're
wait,
pretty close.
did you get
8.57
my
on
score?
Mal.
Actually,
Yeah, did
Oh,
we what?
yeah.
With your
Never
score.
mind.
Yep. So that's pretty funny. Yeah, the Mal score is an 8.57, and ours is an 8.6 exactly. So that's pretty good for us. I don't know. Sometimes we're right on the dot with Mal, and then other times we are the furthest thing from it. It's pretty interesting to see
Non-Baka.
sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, not more than just Nanbaka, but Nanbaka is a really bad one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were really far off with Nanbaka. Which just shows you Mal isn't right. I'm sorry.
No, it just shows you how small of a pool we are.
That's true. No, that is true though. We are a small pool. If you asked a bunch of like 12-year-olds if they like this show, I bet they wouldn't. Like
I hate you so much right
No,
now.
I say it
oh,
if
that
a
wasn't
12-year-old
even a
said
dig at
that was a
Nanbaka.
Nanbaka.
In hindsight, it is a dig at Nanbaka, but in actual no, it wasn't a dig at Nanbaka. This show has a lot of or not adult, but um
You look so dumb right now.
it has a lot of messages that it's trying to send, and that's not what 12-year-olds are looking for, right? They're looking for action, they're looking for flashy colors, whatever. And of course the show looks great. The music, like Pete brought it up, the music in the show is phenomenal. I loved it. I can't speak highly enough about it. The OP I think is on my Spotify playlist, and so is an insert song. I love it. Um, Again, it's just such a pleasant show to listen to. But yeah, so I think that wraps up our discussion of A Place Further Than the Universe. So now we move on to revealing what we voted on between the 4 shows. We only had 4 shows to vote on for our special 20th episode, where we are doing a 2-core anime, which is normally against the rules, but we're making it so in this case. Miles, what did we end up voting for and choosing to
Sure.
watch for Monday the 8th? Because I'm good at planning and remember dates. Monday the 8th is when we will be talking
Yes.
about.
We will be talking about not Takagi-san, which came in 3rd and earns a legacy point if we ever do anything like this again. um,
We could just
And-
do the first season.
yeah, that's fair.
True.
Not Guilty Crown, which came in a very close 2nd and earns a legacy point if we ever
As
decide to
usual.
do something like this again.
As usual, coming in second.
And not Banana Fish, which earns nothing.
Wow.
It wins absolutely nothing.
I'm
Sorry,
surprised.
Pete.
I honestly
0
thought
votes for that?
I honestly thought Banana Fish was going to win.
Oh,
No, it didn't have 0 votes. It was close.
No, I voted for it first. I was excited to watch it. But in fact, we're not. We're going to be watching Suzukai Yori, which was my pick, which barely edged out Guilty Crown.
Yeah.
So that'll be our 2-core anime. I'm excited to see what the show is like. And
What do you mean by 2-core anime?
It's 24 episodes.
24 episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're doing
Yeah,
our
that was
special.
That was our special episode, yeah. So we decided that is just like how we watched. We all nominated really terrible shows like Handshakers for
yeah.
the 10th episode for our 20th. Instead of doing that and suffering again, like we have now 3 out of our 19 episodes that we've done, we have suffered in.
Fuck you.
Hey, that was a dig it has too with what's it
Oh,
called?
if her
Yeah,
flag
yeah,
breaks,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Which was a
So that's
solid
three.
Try and do that shit.
Cat, if her
A
flag breaks
solid
had
5.
doubled,
Go fuck yourself.
if her flag breaks had half the score I gave for non-Baka, so
Yeah, it was
yeah,
terrible.
but you don't really matter that much, do you, right now, Johnny?
That's
yeah,
fair.
I see how it is.
Well, they almost averaged out to a 5 together. They averaged out to a 9.86, which is like a weird
Fuck off.
so that's pretty incredible that it did that. Anyways, so yeah, that'll be our next show, Shinsekai Yori, and again, it's 2 course, so that's our special plan. I'm excited to watch it. I remember hearing about it and being like, oh, sounds interesting, and then never putting on my plan to watch because I was like, oh, it's too long. But now I have no choice, and I'm excited. But now we are going to nominate episode or shows for our 21st episode, which coincidentally will happen on the 22nd of February, which is the week after Valentine's Day. So we are doing a special Valentine's Day themed episode where all of our nominations have to be romance related or romance. They have to have romance as one of their genres. That is the idea behind it. So Miles, do you have your romance show that you are ready to nominate?
Tatami Galaxy.
Tatami
Great
Galaxy.
choice. Great
Yep.
choice.
That is a very famous show. I didn't even know it was a romance. That's cool. That's good to know.
It's a college romance.
Oh, baby.
Wow.
And it's got an 8.6 on Mal. I'm just saying.
It's
I'm just
Devilman
like,
Crybaby's director.
Man, you're making Miles even more excited about his own recommendation that he can't vote for. So that's too bad.
I don't know. I just kind of win like 2 out of 3 times anyway.
It's
so,
true. It's true.
Yeah, it's weird. You're the one who tallies the votes too. Maybe we need to get an audit.
I sent you
done.
the things.
I know. Sorry, bad election joke.
There's
sorry,
an audit
thank you.
trail.
Yeah, America, let's go. Kat, what have you got for your show?
So I was just thinking about it, and I wanted to nominate this one show, but I just remembered another show that might be a little bit better. Also, I know that Pete's gonna definitely vote for it, so give me a second.
If it's romance, I'm gonna vote for everything.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Johnny, what have you got then?
Okay.
I can see the white on your face from looking at Mal. So just tell me
Okay,
what
so-
you were just looking at, please.
Ever since I joined this podcast, I have heard nonstop telling me to watch this fucking show. And just for you guys, for this episode, there's no other better time. High School DxD.
High School DxD.
Okay, low key, that was my backup pick in case somebody chose mine. I just think that would be a fun episode.
You guys are
That would
like,
be
just
really
talk
fun
about
to
this
talk about it.
nonstop. Fucking all of you horny on main. Fine, let's fucking do it. Make me watch the.
What are we doing?
High School DxD. At least do High School of the Dead if you're gonna do a.
No, High School DxD. I'm for that, Johnny.
Yeah, I like that.
That'd be such a
that's fair.
fun episode.
That would be really fun to talk about. Our waifu talk would be
Yeah,
like
fuck it. I'll watch
45
it.
I
minutes.
don't, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, let
House-
Kayla watch it with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
The dub is good.
House will not
The
shut
dub
up
is
about
good.
the show, so fuck it. I'll see what he has to show.
All right, Kat, have you found your show yet, or should I go to Pete?
I have not found the show yet. I'm trying to. If I can't find it by the end of it, I'm just going to nominate the first one if nobody does it.
Okay, we could probably maybe help you if you tried to describe it.
It's the show on Amazon.
Wotakoi.
Amazon Prime. Yes. Wotakoi.
What? So love is hard for an
Oh,
otaku?
Otaku.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love is
Yeah,
hard for
okay.
otaku. Yep.
I respect it. That's a good show. I love that.
I'm
show.
an anime encyclopedia. Just say it. I got you.
Yep, there you go. That's
yeah,
a good
you're
one.
right.
All right. And then Pete, what have you got?
So I was thinking of a show that I think none of you have seen it, but since we're doing a 24 episode show, I thought it'd be fun if we did a short form follow up, and I'm going to nominate Surizuri Children.
I love that show, actually.
Nice. All right. I almost did a short form as well for this.
Senryu Girl?
Well, actually, so there's a couple I thought of. I thought of Senryu Girl, and I was like, well, that's a fun show, but that's not easy. How are we going to talk about that for more than like 30 minutes? Well, I guess you could, but it'd be hard. Same thing with I Can't Understand What My Husband Is Saying. That has 2 really good seasons, and it's 3-minute long episodes. I rewatch it like once a year because it's just so funny and it's a good rom-com. This is our category, Pete. This is us. This is our
This is our
genre,
bread and
right?
butter, baby.
This is
Yeah,
this is all 3 of our categories.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
This is us. Should I put that down?
This is
This is
us?
us.
No.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
No.
absolutely.
No.
that is not an anime.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'll
So
put
I'm
a filter
still.
over it.
I was stuck because I've been looking for an excuse to rewatch Real Life, and I think Miles would really enjoy it, and I think Johnny would enjoy it. No, Johnny's watched it actually, though, and that's the other thing.
I
I think a
have.
lot of us have watched this show.
That one's
So I
tough
feel
because I feel like the OVA needs to be watched as well.
the OVA needs to be watched, which it's 4 episodes. It's not that much longer than the regular show, but at the same time, you still do need to do that. So that's why I hesitantly will not recommend Real Life, and instead go with a show that I think is under talked about, similar to how I went with Tadakun for so long. I'm going to go with Iraduku: The World in Colors. It's done by the studio PA Works, which has created some very beautiful shows, very similar to like uh, they've been called like the baby Kyoto animation. Where the shows have this look to them, and they're just beautiful. And the show is no different. I really liked the colors, and I liked the characters themselves too. The way they show their emotions through the colors and the art and everything else. I really like the show. It has a little bit of magic in it too. It's fun. Um, I just think it's under talked about. It's not really
Mouth
talked about
does
in the
not like
romance.
romance, huh? That's what I'm
No.
learning.
Well, I don't know. 7.57. I mean, it's not a
That's like,
fantastic.
yeah. Oh,
It's
okay.
not. It's not. No, and again, it's not a 10 out of 10 anime by any means. I don't think so. I just think that it's a fun show that I never hear people talk about in the romance genre. So
Mal hates romance. There's a lot of good romance. There's a lot of romance shows really highly rated.
yeah, but they should be higher rated because romance shows are the best. So with that note, we have our 5 shows that are nominated. If you would like to vote yourself as a listener, please do vote. We enjoy them a lot. You can do it in the comments. You can be like Rifle, who's a member of our Discord, who votes as well. There's a bunch of different ways that you can participate, and we'd love to hear your feedback and everything else. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining us. And Pete, why don't you do the sponsorship? And yeah,
Well, if we had a sponsor, I would definitely do it here. We are affiliated, though, with a
that's whatever,
big
yeah.
difference because in the YouTube video, I have to say that we have a paid promotion. Yeah, we're affiliated with
That's
Books
right.
A Million. It's a online books like retailer. If you're looking to buy physical copies of books, magazines, manga, etc., etc., if you use our affiliate link, you help the brand out. So do that. Links for Twitter and Discord is also in the description below. And stay tuned next week, folks. It's the biggest episode of the year. It's the Anime of the Year episode. It's fully edited. I got guests. I got graphics. It's gonna be so good.
You have a very attractive guest for your romance section, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm on the romance one. So yeah, I'm on there. So of course there's gonna be an attractive guest because it's me. And yeah, it's gonna be really great. It's gonna be super fun. Look forward to that. Otherwise, if you're looking for Watch Club, we'll see you in 2 weeks for Shinsekai Yori. We'll see you then, everybody. Peace.